Harvard's campus, typically serene this time of year, felt different. A sense of unease floated through the red brick corridors, the bustling coffee shops, and the grand libraries. It wasn't just the usual weight of final exams or job interviews. There was something bigger in the air. A letter. During the first week of April, Harvard's leadership received an official document directly from the U.S. Department of Education. Signed by representatives of the Trump administration, the letter contained tough demands: changes to internal university policies, revisions to academic programs labeled as biased, and reinforcement of what the president termed total free speech. The tone was unmistakable. If Harvard refused to meet the new federal guidelines, it could face severe sanctions, including the freezing of public funding that supports research projects, scholarships, and community programs. The university's president, Lawrence S. Bacow, already nearing the end of his tenure, now faced perhaps the most difficult decision of his career: uphold academic independence and risk devastating financial losses, or bow to government pressure and compromise Harvard's historic values. A choice with no easy winners. Who is Donald Trump? A life of triumphs and controversies. To understand the current situation, one must look back at the man once again occupying the White House. Donald John Trump, born June 14, 1946, in Queens, New York, embodies controversy. A real estate mogul, television host, and, since 2016, the 45th President of the United States, Trump transformed his public persona into a global cultural phenomenon. After losing his 2020 re-election bid to Joe Biden, Trump never truly stepped away from politics. He maintained a loyal base, ran again, and won the 2024 election, returning to power in a nation even more polarized than before. From his first months back in office, Trump renewed his campaign against what he calls the leftist indoctrination of American universities. Harvard, as the ultimate symbol of academic liberalism, naturally became one of his favorite targets. Trump is driven by a vision: restoring what he sees as traditional American values, and curbing the influence of progressive movements across cultural and educational spheres. To his supporters, he's a hero fighting against the moral decay of the country. To his critics, a populist threatening the foundations of democracy and academic freedom. Harvard, more than a university, a dream founded in 1636 in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Harvard University is the oldest institution of higher learning in the United States, and, to many, the most prestigious in the world. Its alumni include 8 U.S. presidents, dozens of Nobel Prize winners, global leaders, writers, scientists, business giants, and legal minds. Attending Harvard isn't merely an academic achievement, it's a symbolic passport to the future, a seal of excellence recognized worldwide. Every year, over 40,000 students apply to Harvard. Only about 2,000 are accepted. The selection process is brutal: perfect grades, stellar recommendation letters, social projects, math Olympiad medals, academic publications, and even then, acceptance is never guaranteed. The campus breathes a unique atmosphere, where intellect, ambition, and creativity collide. Young people from every continent cross oceans and cultural barriers to set foot on its hallowed grounds. Yet Harvard is not just a temple of knowledge, it is a bastion of free thought, ideological plurality, and independent scientific research. Defending itself against political pressure is not simply a matter of pride, it is an institutional mission. The conflict, the letter, the demands, and Harvard's first response. The Trump administration's letter arrived on April 3, 2025. Formally worded but sharply pointed, it demanded immediate adjustments to Harvard's internal policies under the threat of losing millions of dollars in federal funding. The main demands included adoption of an explicit policy of ideological neutrality in courses and events, revision of curricula allegedly showing a progressive bias in fields like history, sociology, and race studies, guaranteed unrestricted free speech, even for views considered offensive or unpopular within the academic community. Commitments to investigate faculty or administrators accused of ideological discrimination. The letter ended with a line that thundered across Cambridge: federal funding is contingent upon adherence to guidelines ensuring neutrality and free speech in American higher education. Within Harvard, the document triggered immediate panic. Student groups organized emergency assemblies. Renowned professors sent open letters to the president, urging him to stand firm. Major donors threatened to cut funding if the university caved. Meanwhile, more conservative voices suggested that perhaps it was time to balance the academic debate. This was a crisis few living members of the Harvard community had ever seen. Harvard's first response on April 10, President Bacow held a historic press conference. With a solemn expression, he declared, "Harvard deeply values freedom of expression and pluralistic debate. We are carefully reviewing the requests we have received and reaffirm our commitment to academic integrity, intellectual rigor, and institutional autonomy." It was a diplomatic response, neither accepting the demands nor outright rejecting them. It marked the beginning of a high-stakes chess match. Behind the scenes, the president's anguish to the public, President Lawrence Bacow seemed composed. Behind the scenes, the reality was very different. According to sources close to the administration, Bacow spent days and nights in meetings with attorneys, faculty members, external advisors, and educational experts. Every possible scenario was painstakingly analyzed. If Harvard resisted, it stood to lose approximately $600 million annually in federal funding, impacting scholarships, scientific laboratories, and community outreach programs. If Harvard yielded, it would compromise its historic reputation for academic freedom and risk losing students, professors, and donors. It was an almost impossible decision. External pressure mounted as well. Government officials sent private communications reminding the administration that the measure would not only affect Harvard but potentially the entire American university system, a domino effect the Trump administration seemed to desire. Lawrence Bacow, a lawyer trained at Harvard and MIT, known for his conciliatory temperament, was nearing retirement. He had never imagined ending his career like this, caught between two ideological fires. In moments of private candor, reportedly shared with confidants, Bacow said, "If we cave, Harvard will no longer be Harvard. If we resist, I might be the last president to govern the university in its full autonomy." The current situation, April 2025. As of the time of this writing, Harvard has yet to issue an official response to the Trump administration's ultimatum. The deadline given in the letter is 30 days, meaning early May 2025. The academic community is in turmoil. Over 1,200 professors have signed an open letter urging resistance. A group of wealthy alumni, including CEOs of major tech firms, has pledged to create a $2 billion emergency fund to support Harvard in the event of federal funding cuts. Student movements are organizing weekly demonstrations on campus, alternating between rallies supporting the president and protests against the government. American media outlets cover the situation daily, casting Harvard as either a symbol of resistance or a symbol of crisis. In the face of the new Trump administration, inside the White House, Trump's advisors view forcing Harvard's compliance as a major political victory, potentially sparking a broader cultural transformation across the nation. Inside Harvard, the battle is seen differently, as a fight for the soul of free education and the preservation of a nearly 400-year-old legacy. Final reflection: the weight of a decision. Ultimately, Harvard's dilemma isn't just about money or education policies. It's about the role of universities during times of political upheaval. It's about the courage to defend values under the weight of power. It's about knowing that sometimes, preserving integrity comes at an enormous cost. President Bacow knows that whatever decision he makes will be historic, and he also knows that, regardless of the path chosen, he will face fierce criticism. In the quiet of his office, amid piles of documents, student letters, and veiled threats, he likely asks himself, what is the true price of academic freedom? And you? What decision would you make if you were in the university president's place?